You know it well. It's March Maddenness 2023, and just like we had the selection show yesterday, we have our own selection show, and we're going to start immediately with this 32 team bracket up here at the top of the bracket with a number one seed. It is the number one Kansas City Chiefs will be advancing to the number one seed in the bracket. And man, do they deserve. This is off of regular season standings. By the way, this is not off of playoff performance. This is off of purely regular season standings. So, Kansas City, I need to retype that better. So, Kansas City. Kansas City is up at this part of the bracket. They will take on the number 16 Houston Texans, who are unfathomably bad this year. So bad, in fact, that they got the number 2 pick. But they are bad. But they are so bad that they didn't even get the number 1 overall pick. That's how bad that the Houston Texans are. They will take on the 16 Kansas City Chiefs. And number 8, and by the way, I am using this website. We'll begin with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Always a polarizing team. And they will be slotted into the 8th seed, taking on the number 9 New England Patriots. And you always love to see the New England Patriots in the playoffs, but this is going to be an absolutely incredible rivalry game. Pittsburgh versus New England. This one should be an incredible one despite how terrible these teams are. Alright, let's start. Next up is the number 4 team in the nation, the Jet. This is based off of actual win-loss record. This is off of their actual standings, so division winners. Maybe a little bit seated unfairly, but team number 4 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is based on playoff standings, meaning that the Jacksonville Jaguars are the 4 seed. Maybe seated a little bit unfairly, but that's just how it is here. They are seated as the 4 seed, and they will get a home game versus the number 13, the abysmal number 13, Las Vegas Raiders. And Josh McDaniels really did nothing for that team. Jacksonville versus Las Vegas. And yes, this will apply to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They will be seated as a 4 despite being 8 and 9. Spoiler alert for that bracket. And you will see Jacksonville this yellow color, because number 5 is the LA Chargers. Probably should have been seated over the Jags, but they are incredibly talented, and they get the 5 seed against the absolute number 12 seed, the 12, 13, 14, 15. The Cleveland Browns are their opponent in the first round. And that's when Deshaun Watson was suspended until week 12. These double-digit seeds are gonna be some polarizing ones. Maybe we can see some upsets here, like Cleveland over Los Angeles. Maybe New England over Pittsburgh. I do not see Houston beating Kansas City. I don't see anyone beating Kansas City. And here we go. Next up is the number 3. They list the number 3 first. I know they list the number 5 first. But I decided to list the 4 first. But I'm actually going to stick with it and say that the number 3 team is the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow. Leading the Bengals to a home game. They will play the 14-seeded Denver Broncos. This one will be incredible. They did play in the first round of last year's tournament, if I do believe so, as the 4 and the 13. This one's going to be fun to watch. And then you have the 2 seed, the final seed of the bracket. The 2 seed Buffalo Bills versus the 15 seed Indianapolis Colts. Indy is the last team to be in it, and they'll be represented by this gray color, facing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. And that is your AFC bracket. So if we look at this bracket, I think mostly... Oh, that is not what I meant to do. Hold on. I did this too bad. We actually know these 2 matchups down here. I do not know how my bracket works. We forget... You actually know this matchup. I'm forgetting teams. I'm forgetting the teams, so starting... Now the teams that I forgot. And I apologize to those teams. This should be the number 6 Baltimore Ravens. Number 6, the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe we could see a Ravens Bengals like we did versus the number 11 seed and who I think 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 Tennessee Titans. Oof, this one is going to be a tough one to play for Tennessee with the collapse, and you got Baltimore. Oof, but I think they can pull off the upset, maybe if they don't collapse, since both those teams are on a collapse. And I forget about this number 7, Miami Dolphins. With Skylar Thompson, maybe they can win a game. Will it matter? I don't really know. Get their aqua color. Taking on their little brothers, the New York Jets, who they were playing in Week 18. They have to play again in March Maddenness. And this is your official AFC bracket. Chiefs versus Texans, Steelers versus Patriots, Jaguars versus Raiders, Chargers Browns, Ravens Titans, Bengals Broncos, Dolphins, Jets, Bills, and Colts. And now we move over to the NFC side. Number 1 overall seed. The Chiefs are the number 1 overall seed, by the way. The number 1 Philadelphia Eagles move in. With the number 32 overall seed, Chicago Bears moving in with the number 1 overall pick, which they traded to the Carolina Panthers, sadly. Hold on, where did that go? And now we move on to the 8 and 9 of the NFC. 8 and 9 of the NFC. It will be the Detroit Lions at the number 8 spot. Something you never really expected from the Detroit Lions. You always expected them to be terrible. And they started out terrible, but they have rebounded to an 8 to an 8 seed, and on the 9 line is the Washington Commanders. Who started Carson Wentz with the playoffs on the line. I don't feel bad for you if this 9 seed, but this is going to be an intriguing game to watch. And we now move on to the 4 and 5. As this 23 is kind of interfering with our bracket. Number 4. The number 4 team is the Tampa Bay Bucks. Tampa Bay is in pewter versus Brett Maher, who fails to make a kick. The Dallas Cowboys who fails to make a kick. I will make Tampa Bay the red again. They may not have the chance of facing Washington. Tampa Bay, Dallas. No, I'm sorry. Dallas goes right here. Number 13, who the Tampa Bay is actually playing, 16, 15, is their division rival, the Atlanta Falcons. And this is why I wanted to make them. The Atlanta Falcons cannot escape Tom Brady. Maybe we do see Tom Brady retired, obviously, but maybe he can go over this Dallas. As for Dallas, the number 12 seed they have to face. As for Dallas, the number 12 seed they have to face is fellow division rival of the Bucks, New Orleans Saints. New Orleans Saints. You know what I mean? Falcons could have a chance to meet the New Orleans Saints in the playoffs. As a 12 seed, the Saints are a 12 seed. I'm hoping they get the upset. I'm hoping Brett Maher misses every single kick. And here we go. We are moving into the 6 seed, which would be none other than the beloved New York Giants. the New York Giants versus their 11 seed counterparts, the Carolina Panthers, who now have the number 1 overall pick as an 11 seed. They have the number 1 overall pick, which is nice. Can they go in with that leverage and take out the Giants? Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings, who are seeded with the loss amount that they have, the Minnesota Vikings are 3 seed only, taking on the 14 seed LA Rams. No, wait. Taking on the 14 seed Rams, who just traded Jalen Ramsey for nothing. And they get yellow for it. Hoping maybe the Rams can go out and win this game. Maybe make this a little bit smaller for the Saints. Tap it, because I know you could see that 12 seed. Alright, so now we move on to the final 2 games. The number 7 and the number 10. It is the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks, out of all teams, we did not believe. Out of the preseason polls, Seattle was predicted to be maybe like a 16, 15, or 14 seed. Said they've risen all the way up to the 7 line. Which I think is an incredible accomplishment, considering they have Geno Smith. And the Green Bay Packers themselves will go. It is going to be a fun one here as Green Bay takes on Seattle in one of the more historic rivalry matchups. You know, they have a lot of history with each other. The Seahawks and Packers. Oh, this is going to be a good one at Lumen. And our final game, the San Francisco 49ers who ran out of quarterbacks, unfortunately, against the number 1. I mean, honestly, how does Mr. Irrelevant become your best quarterback? San Francisco is just wizardry at this. And your final team in the bracket, the number 15, probably led by Trace McSorley, Arizona Cardinals, who we expected to be much higher than a 15 line coming into this. Okay, now you have this selection show done. On the AFC, we have Chiefs versus Texans, Steelers, Patriots, Jaguars, Raiders, Chargers, Browns, Ravens, Titans, Bengals, Broncos, Dolphins, Jets, Bills, Colts, Eagles, Bears, Lions, Commanders, Buccaneers, Falcons. Maybe I should have made that bear, but Cowboys, Saints, Giants, Panthers, Vikings, Rams, Seahawks, Packers, and 49ers and Cardinals. How is this going to work? I'm going to have a camera, and that camera will record all of the games one by one. We'll start. Here's the schedule. I mean, it's very, very zoomed out, so I have to do this nice thing by zooming in and trying to make it bigger. And trying to make it way larger. Here's our schedule. So our schedule will consist of tomorrow, Tuesday. No, it'll consist of Wednesday. We tip off, record all the games, one by 1 we record. Well, yeah, Wednesday we record all of the first round games one by one. Thursday we record all of the round 2 games one by one. The Sweet 16 games, the Elite 8 games one by one. All done. That's on Friday. And on Saturday, on Saturday, the Final Four will be done. And the championship. So that is your March Maddenness schedule. And we are here for 2023. Name this the March. So how does this compare to 2022, which is one of the first things that I ever did? Here is March Maddenness. Here was the first one. Tennessee, Jacksonville, and Jacksonville upset Tennessee. The Final Four were Baltimore, Cleveland, the LA Rams, and Dallas. So Green Bay had the number 1 seed, Detroit had the number 16 seed, and they jumped all the way to an 8. Minnesota jumped to a 3. New Orleans jumped to down to a 12. Chicago to a 16. Rams went all the way to a 14 seed. Cardinals went all the way down to a 15. Falcons kind of stayed the same. Seahawks go up to a 7. 49ers go to a 2. Dallas goes down to a 5. Panthers go to an 11. Philadelphia skyrockets all the way up to a 1. Washington and Tampa Bay Giants. This is pretty bad sitting. And yes, Cincinnati did play Denver in the first round, and Denver won. Okay, that one was weird. There were a lot of upsets. A 12 and an 11. Okay, that is your NFL March Maddenness for 2023. Done. I'm Willow Studios, and this is a video.